Hey everybody, Justin Schlegel with RHP Real Estate and Team Schlegel. Today we're going to talk about the earnest deposit as one of our tips and truths videos. So what is an earnest deposit? Well, it's money that's given by a buyer and it's used as good faith funds to show that you're moving forward in a transaction to purchase real estate. And what the seller does with it is nothing until the buyer breaches the contract and the transaction cancels, and then they could take that as liquidated damages instead of going after the buyer in a lawsuit in a legal matter. So the earnest deposit is really just good faith funds to show that you're moving forward, and it'll ultimately credit towards your down payment and closing costs at the end of the transaction. Of course, with VA financing, you might even get the earnest deposit back, but that's a whole nother story. So how much is an earnest deposit? Well, there's no one-size-fits-all answer, but typically we see about 1% of the purchase price. So on a $400,000 home, you're going to see about $4,000 for a general earnest deposit. Sometimes less, sometimes more, and there's various reasons as to why you'd want to do either of those. When? So as soon as you go under contract, that is when the earnest deposit gets processed. So typically 24, worst case 48 hours from time of acceptance, you want those funds deposited with the escrow company or the title company. That's the neutral third party that handles all the money within the transaction, and they hold that earnest deposit. To who? Well, again, that was to the title company or the escrow company. So your agent is going to stipulate and tell you, where that check needs to be made out to or where you're going to send that wire. And be careful with wire fraud. Make sure that you are getting wiring instructions directly from that escrow company before sending anything. And then finally, protections. The earnest deposit is protected, at least here in Arizona, by all the contingencies of the contract. So that would be the inspection period, the appraisal contingency, the financing contingency, having clear title, all sorts of things. So it's very favorable to the buyer in Arizona. It's very hard to lose that earnest deposit. So you really have to disappear, and if you don't follow instructions, I can't protect you. And from a seller's side, it's not easy to take that earnest deposit, but we know that if the buyer does things they're not supposed to, then you can. So that's earnest deposit in a nutshell. If you have any questions about that or anything real estate related, please don't hesitate. The information is below. Thank you for watching and have a great day.